Alright, so just about a month ago, the brand new Marvel show Agatha All Along debuted on Disney Plus and finished up. I have not yet filmed my tier list ranking of every single Marvel Disney Plus show and project on there. Here we go. Right before we get started, I asked you guys if you guys would rather see a ranking or if you guys would rather see a tier list. You guys said tier list, so I'm using Sean Chandler's tier list. If you don't know, Sean Chandler, probably my favorite, well, not probably about it, my favorite film critic, one of the best out there. Go check him out on YouTube. He did a tier list ranking when the show first came out. It's been a busy month for me, so I haven't been able to do mine, but I'm using his tier list that he had in the description of that video. So the categories are legend, great, flawed, not for me, and what are we doing? Those are the categories in his tier list, so I'm just going to piggyback off of them and use them for myself. We got 15 projects to talk about, so let's go ahead and get ready to go. Before I get started, please make sure to subscribe, like button, hit the bell, and comment down below. Is your either what you're going to put in each tier, or what is your guys' ranking of every Marvel Disney Plus show and project. By show and project, I'm going to do everything that's in the MCU, including Werewolf by Night, and the other project, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and then I'm also including X-Men 97 in there as well, because why not? Because I loved X-Men 97. I always want to talk about that show. With that said, let's finally get started for this long video, and we'll start off with the newcomer, Agatha All Along. Kicking things right off, we're going in the great tier with this one. Now, I was very surprised to hear that a lot of people are mainly positive on this show, because for me, I was watching it and I'm like, I actually really enjoy this, but everyone else is gonna hate it. And I finally went on Twitter and saw reactions out of the show and was very surprised that this is a very positively taken show, and I thought it was really great. I really did enjoy it. Yes, it's got flaws. Yes, in the middle it can be a little bit repetitive. Yes, there is some story flaws in the very end of the show. I still thought it worked, but there are some flaws there. For me, I felt this one to be a very interesting and new type of show. We don't see stuff like this inside the MCU. We haven't seen anything like this before. And in a day and age where superhero movies, if done the same exact way, can feel very repetitive and boring, where, oh, we got a superhero and they got to fight a villain, they do stuff in the middle, and a big CGI battle in the end, I'm done with that. And so I will always respect when something tries to give us something new, just like Agatha All Along gave us something new. I thought this show was great, had a compelling mystery, had cast and characters that we actually cared for. The stuff that ties it back to WandaVision. I recently rewatched WandaVision before this one, not to spoil the ranking later on, but I thought it was great. So all the stuff that ties into that, I thought worked really, really well. So this was just a show that put some fresh air into me and into the MCU. It goes in the great category. You know what doesn't go in the great category? Our other Marvel show featuring a woman that was a side character in another Marvel show. It's Echo, and it sucked. I hated Echo. I really wanted to love this one. So excited to see this. Thought the trailers were great. Daredevil was going to be in it, and even if he was in it for a brief second, still awesome. But there was so much cool stuff that this show could have had. And I left the show disappointed. It's 4 episodes long, or 5 episodes long, I mean. Not near enough time to spread out the storylines that we need. The first episode is very interesting and explains a lot of stuff. And then when we finally get to the second episode, it's just like, after it ends, it's just like, oh, that's all you're going to give us? That's all we're going to get? That's it? It's very, very, very weird, and I do not like it whatsoever, because the whole show just feels like it's trying to set up so many individual plot lines, and then by the end, when they come crashing in, it sets up a pretty compelling finale. The way it ends is in 5 minutes where the guy's like, hey, I got a bazooka launcher. I'm gonna kill you guys, and then Echo's doing her weird magic stuff, which was kind of interesting, and that's the big word here in the series. It's kind of interesting, because the show was kind of interesting. It had stuff that would have been like Agatha All Along, breathing some fresh air into the MCU, but then it decides to be 5 episodes, undercook everything, and just not work whatsoever. The action sequences were very, very good. That was the one thing I loved about it, but it just really, it really did not work for me, just because it feels like yet another undercooked MCU project. Then we got Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and this video, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be full of hot takes. This is another hot take. It's going in the great category. Loved the show when it first came out. I love these two characters of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They both have great chemistry. Always great chemistry. I actually really like the Flag Smashers as villains in this show. I feel like their motive was kind of justifiable. Where we're like, oh, hey, Thanos was kind of right. That he actually helped a lot of people. These people, their lives got better, and now they're just upset about that. I get some of the stuff that people don't like the unnecessary politics, people being like, oh, yeah, Black Lives Matter inside the show. But even like the Black Lives Matter plotline, I thought it was handled kind of well. I did like the Black Lives Matter plotline. And while I didn't think it was like masterful, I felt like it was pretty good. The politics were kind of mad, but the show has, again, some great action set pieces with compelling villains. Wyatt Russell as John Walker, phenomenal. One of my favorite villains inside the MCU now. I thought he was captivating and great. Very excited to see what he's going to do in Thunderbolts. But just great characters that I enjoyed. Great action sequences with compelling villains, in my opinion, propel this one to be great. I feel like this one could be higher, maybe in the Legend category, if I give it a rewatch, which I do plan on doing soon. But for now, it is in the great tier. Putting our first edition into the Legend category, it's the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, something that is going to be playing into my house every single Christmas. Watched it when it came out, watched it last year, gonna watch it this year because we are nearing into the Christmas season. Really dug this. It's only like an hour long. We love the Guardians of the Galaxy, love the characters, so it's just kind of a heartwarming story where Mantis and Drax go to get Kevin Bacon. That's all it is they do that for Peter Quill, and it kind of like sets up some things for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and it's very emotional. When we get to the end, it is very emotional, proving that this is a family that just suffered a loss, and they're just trying to cheer them up with the holiday spirit. And I shed a tear watching it. I always shed a tear watching it because it is very good. It is very good little special. It sets up Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which I still need to rewatch, but it sets up that movie in just a nice, charming holiday way. So, easily it goes in the Legend category. Then we got another holiday Marvel project, Hawkeye, which I do also intend on rewatching in December due to holiday. In fact, I plan on starting to watch it at the gym after I finish my Now Gym show. I have shows that I watch at the gym. The gym show I'm watching now is Only Murders in the Building Season 4. The gym show I watched before was Agatha All Along, just because, you know, why not? Anyways, back to Hawkeye. This was during my kind of slump on my YouTube channel, where I just was done. I pretty much quit YouTube. As a 15-year-old kid, I just kind of felt it was too much, and I don't know, I just kind of felt overwhelmed. This show kind of got me back into it. This show made me want to start up my YouTube channel, and now look where we are. We've gained over 100 subscribers this year alone, so got a lot to owe to this show because now I'm building my YouTube channel. Hawkeye is great. Goes right in the great category. I really did enjoy this one. The chemistry between Hawkeye and Kate Bishop is great. We even got Florence Pugh's Yelena in this show as well, and her relationship with Kate Bishop is great as well. There are some great action sequences. Again, it's another street-level Marvel project, and every street-level Marvel project, like Falcon the Winter Soldier, Echo, and Hawkeye, all have great action sequences in here. Has a nice holiday vibe that I really enjoy. Brings in Kingpin from the Daredevil series and places it inside the MCU. Really enjoyed that aspect as well. And overall, this is kind of just an enjoyable MCU show. This might be the MCU show that I enjoyed watching the most. It doesn't need to be great. Doesn't need to be world-destroying television. It just needs to be a fun MCU show. And that's what it was. That's why it worked for me. That's why it goes in the great. And I'm actually kind of excited to rewatch it this month. We can go quickly over this one. It's I Am Groot going in the Not For Me category. It's just because I watched a couple of them because my mother likes Groot. I like Groot, obviously, but it's never going to be something I want to watch. And my mother wanted to watch some, so watched a couple little episodes with my mother. They're cute, dumb shorts. That's it. Doesn't have any impact on the MCU. Doesn't have a story. It's just Groot doing some dumb things. Don't really have much thoughts on it. The only thing I can say is it's really just not for me because I would never watch it with my own free will. We got Loki, and this is an interesting one. I am not doing both seasons. I am just combining them into one. Loki, even though it's kind of interesting, because I feel like both seasons are very different from each other. That first season, while great, is more of the normal MCU stuff. Like, we got the characters, go on a big world-changing adventure with action sequences and all that stuff. It's really good. Loki is great. His relationship with Sylvie, fantastic. It introduces the TVA, which is very, very interesting inside this show. Then we get the second season, which I feel is kind of like Agatha All Along, where it just breathes some fresh air into the MCU, where, like, it doesn't feel the same as all the other projects. It's like a different niche kind of thing, where you're talking about the score and the characters and the intense emotions that you get at the end, almost like emotions you've never seen before in the MCU. And the ultimate decision that Loki has to make for the greater good of the MCU, it just feels different. It feels unique. It feels special. And that's what works so much about the second season. So there are aspects in the first season that I liked more than this one. I find that one is really fun, introduces a lot of cool aspects. And then the second season is where it hits hard and where it works. So Loki is absolutely fantastic as a Marvel show. It goes in the legend category. I'd say season 1 would individually probably go in the great, at the very top of the great. And then season 2 would go in the legend just because it's something so unique and different. Very interesting one we're going to talk about here, Moon Knight. Now this one's kind of split into 3 parts. First 2 episodes, very interesting. Got me hyped for the rest of the show. Middle 2 episodes did not work for me whatsoever. Just bored me. I was very bored with it. And then final 2 episodes, specifically episode 5, is the most emotional thing that we've seen in the MCU. And then we get another CGI battle ending, which it's fine, whatever. So very interesting, because I was very interested by the very beginning of the show. I thought it was great. I thought we were going to have another great series. And then we got the middle 2 episodes where it's just Moon Knight and this other chick going off to tombs and whatnot. It's very, very boring stuff. And then, like, we get that episode 5 that is just beyond emotional and just shocked me. I was watching this with my family, and I was shocked that something could be so bad and then pull you in really, really quickly just because of one episode and the emotions that it brings in there. And then we get the last episode, which, again, it's got the CGI battle, but then we get to the end where it makes you desperately think, hey, I want a second season of that immediately. Besides the point, Ethan Hawke is another great MCU villain. Find his performance very captivating. Oscar Isaac, phenomenal in this show. Able to play 2 personalities and have great banter with himself, which is very hard to do, but he pulls it off. And so this is one that I wish I could say I loved. I wish I could put this in legend, because it was a show that I was very excited for. Those middle 2 episodes definitely bring it down, but if the show stayed the same as the first 2 and the last 2, this would be much higher. But for now, I gotta put it in good. You know a show that's not good whatsoever? Miss Marvel. I hate this show. I hate this show. Now, I've seen some people tell me something. That every show that I have in What Are We Doing, which is where this one goes, or Not For Me, is because a woman is the main character. That's not true. I'm sorry, but every Marvel project that, not every Marvel project, but every Marvel Disney Plus show that features a woman has some of the worst writers that I've ever met. And I don't know if you're going to call me sexist. I don't care. It's the truth. Because, man, what was going on in this show? We get that first episode, which is interesting enough. Not good, but it's interesting. Where, like, we get Miss Marvel, and she's, like, gets her powers. She doesn't stop to think. She's like, oh, cool. Cool, man. I got powers. Huh, cool. And doesn't like, stop to think. And then it's just downhill from there, where we kind of get this interesting story with the villains. And then we stop playing Miss Marvel for a little bit and go halfway across the universe, or the planet, whatever, to India, I think, to where we go back in time and do this whole story that no one cares about. Why? I don't know. It's stupid. It is so unbelievably stupid. Good. Final episode is really good. It's what I wanted from the show all along, which is like the Miss Marvel comics. I'm a huge Miss Marvel fan. I grew up with the comics, and I thought they were great. And then what happened to the show? Was really excited for this. And then just the writing brought it so much down, where I could not get invested because it just didn't make sense. Why are we doing this? Villain dies at a part. Miss Marvel's like, no, don't sacrifice yourself for the problems you created. And then she dies, and Miss Marvel's like, no, I'm sad now. Hey, Bruno, want to go get some pizza? That is instantly how it happened. And I genuinely could not believe it. That the show's writing was so bad, wanted to do so many individual things that it just couldn't it couldn't breathe. It couldn't have a single 20 seconds to breathe on a single thing. Which sucks because Iman Vellani is great. She was phenomenal in The Marvels. Easily the best part of that movie. So why does her show suck? I'm sorry. It hurts to say this. It goes in What Are We Doing? It is the worst Marvel show. I hate this show. Yet another hot take, Secret Invasion, going in the great category. Now, I know a lot of people that are going to hate this one, but for me, this kind of threw it back to when Marvel Disney Plus shows were just starting. Where, for me, in my specific friend group, we're constantly talking about it. Constantly wanting to know what was going to happen next. Making theories. Who was a Skrull? Who wasn't a Skrull? And between WandaVision and this, it kind of just lost, the Disney Plus Marvel shows kind of just lost that magic. Where it just stopped becoming the place for fans to talk about theories and stuff, and more became, oh, yeah, it was the same thing as the last show. And so, that's why I really, really did enjoy it. It had a more grounded aspect to it. Very interesting stuff in here. Characters die that you do not think dies. I can totally understand. Well, actually, no, I can't. I genuinely can't understand why people hate the show, because my experience was just so far different from them. Where every week I was excited to watch a show, and every week I fell in love with the show again. I loved this show, and I don't know why everyone else didn't. And it hurts that this was a show that in my specific friend group brought us back to 2021, right when Marvel was coming back out with more Disney Plus shows. And then we kind of lost our way, and for this one, for me specifically, kind of brought us back. Now, that finale was horrible. I mean, I don't really need to say why. The CGI, another big CGI battle, but it was horrible, and was a bad aspect to end the show on. But for the majority of it, it was very, very good, in my opinion. And the way it ended off where, hey, yeah, now there's going to be a whole army and a war with the Skrulls. Very, very cool stuff. Very excited to see what they're going to do next with that one. Secret Invasion goes in the great category for me. She-Hulk, and this is really where people on the internet told me that I was sexist, because I was talking about She-Hulk with some people on Twitter, and I got blasted. About 6 users that literally say in their bio, my pronouns are she/Hulk. Decided to go after me with guns and knives and threaten my life on Twitter. It was fun. It was very fun. People getting so unbelievably pissed off at you that they're threatening your life on Twitter because you don't share the same opinion. Now, I don't hate this one as much as a lot of people do. It doesn't even go in What Are We Doing? It goes in Not For Me. Because a lot of the show I did really enjoy. I found the middle episodes to be entertaining. Tatiana Maslany, I hope I'm saying her name right, is very good in this role. We get Abomination back. There are some very funny sequences in here. It's a different type of MCU show. But then you gotta talk about the stuff where she tells Bruce Banner, the guy who probably carries the most pain out of anyone inside the entire MCU, that she has it harder than him just because she gets catcalled on the street, where he literally has a giant monster living inside of him and has, like, literally fights for any love he can get and tries to kill himself on numerous occasions. Her flat out telling him, hey, I have it harder than you because people think I'm hot. Bad idea. But I think where this show really made it to be like, yeah, this is not for me, is the fact that the last episode, she breaks all continuity, everything that could have been interesting. Very excited to see how this would have turned out with her fighting all the bad guys at the thing. She's just like, nope, let me ruin this. Jump into Disney Plus. Go talk to robot Kevin Feige. I just lost complete interest. It just made me do that. Like, come on, man. Come on. We're just going to break everything we know because she's a woman and can do whatever she wants. Like, come on, man. And it just always puts a sour taste in my mouth when that happens. Oh, yeah, we're just going to ruin everything interesting that we already had about the show. Come on, man. And so for me, it has to go not for me. Well, I did enjoy a lot of more aspects about it. Oh, and by the way, the whole fight I had on Twitter, do you want to know why that fight started? Oh, it's because I said She-Hulk twerking with Megan Thee Stallion wasn't funny. I didn't say anything bad. I didn't say that people are bad for thinking it's funny. I just said it wasn't funny in my personal preference. And people threatened my life because I thought She-Hulk dancing and twerking her butt with Megan Thee Stallion wasn't funny. And so instantly when something like that happens, instantly makes me just go negative on it. So hey, I wish I could bash this show just for you guys out there. Just for you sick freaks who want to threaten my life because I don't think a woman twerking her butt is comedy. Haha. But I can't. I gotta be honest. And the honest thought was it's not for me, but there are aspects I did enjoy. Then we got WandaVision. Now this was a show when it first came out I really did enjoy, but there were aspects of it I didn't like. Like, I really didn't like the fact that the middle episodes kind of felt like filler episodes, and the ending was CGI battle. I still don't like the ending. I still don't. When I rewatched it, thought it was great. I thought it was really great. Called me back to the time where I was just talking with all my friends, talking on the internet, constantly searching for theories and individual thoughts on each episode. Watched this one with my family, and flat out could not wait to watch it. So, like, when something was busy on Friday night when it came out, I snuck behind their back and watched it without them because I just could not wait. And it brought me back to that time of being so excited to see what's going to happen in the next episode. Very, very compelling stuff. Very creepy stuff. I still feel that it's very creepy, especially in the earlier episodes of the show. Very unnerving feeling that you get wanting to know what's happening. One thing I don't like is how everyone, like, the stuff that happened with Wanda after, where everyone's still trying to treat her like a hero. Don't feel like that works. But for me, I feel like the majority of the show works. Introduces us to some great characters, specifically in Monica Rambeau. Brings back some great characters in Jimmy and in Kat Dennings from the Thor movies. Thought all that was great. And just rewatching it brought back so much nostalgia. It was 3 years ago. Brought back so much nostalgia to where when Marvel still worked for the majority of people, we were still excited to see what happened next. And that's why I'm putting WandaVision in the Legend category. We got Werewolf by Night. This is the other Marvel special presentation that we got. And for me, I'm kind of mixed on it. It is going in good. It is going in good. It's going behind Moon Knight in good. But it's just because it was fine. It was fine. Thought the premise was interesting. Some cool action sequences. But it always felt like it wasn't doing enough. It always made me feel like, yeah, I kind of wish it was more. More than that. Never got around to rewatching it. I definitely feel like I need to rewatch it. But for a premise that's interesting as this. Like, when I leave the show, like, okay, yeah. More mixed than anything, but it was good. It was good. It was good for just a little hour thing. I kind of wish I got more out of it. I really did. Now, I haven't seen this in a while, so I can't really say what I wish I got out of it. But I just do remember the feeling after watching it, like, you know, that's good, but what did I gain from watching this? What did it gain in the greater MCU? Nothing. It really didn't gain anything. And so it's still good, but definitely not as good as the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I'll tell you that for sure. We got What If. This is going in not for me. just because every time a new season comes out, I tell myself, hey, I'm going to keep up with this new season. There are premises of each episode that I find to be very interesting. The overall premise, again, of What If, very, very interesting for me. This show always just loses my interest. Like, I watch 1 or 2 episodes and I'll be like, okay, now do I really gotta spend every day, like, watching half an hour of a show that doesn't add anything to my life, doesn't add anything to the MCU? So I kind of just stopped watching it. Like, every time. I'm like, hey, I ought to keep up. I guarantee you, when season 3 comes out, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna keep up with this. And then after 1 or 2 episodes, I'm just gonna kind of get bored of it and say, I'm not gaining anything from my life from watching this. It's interesting. Some of the premises are interesting. The animation is cool. But it's really not anything for me. The show is not for me, and that's really what the not for me category is made for, is this show. And I Am Groot. What If, not for me. And our final show we're going to talk about in this long tier list ranking, X-Men 97. It's my favorite out of all of them. It goes in legend. I love this show. Now, for the original X-Men, the animated series, thought they were fine 20 to 30 minute episodes. Little fun adventures. I didn't love them, but I thought they were good. Thought it was good. Heading into this, I didn't know what to expect. And heading out of it, I loved it. Where this is a show. This is a season where we get all the emotional weight. We get the cool X-Men. For something that hasn't been done in the MCU before. And this is not in the MCU, but for something that hasn't been done by Disney. By Disney Marvel. It's very, very, very cool. That makes all the X-Men cool. From the first episode, Scott Summers, who in the Fox X-Men movies isn't very cool, it turns into a complete badass. He's awesome. From that first episode forward, the rest of the characters, very cool and great. They have awesome character arcs in the season. And then, like, we hit the midway point. I was really enjoying it. Then we hit the midway point, where we get the episode on Genosha. And it's devastating. It is a devastating episode where this culmination of events, the X-Men, the mutants are finally happy. They have their island, and the humans got to come and strip it all away. Least of all, killing Gambit. My favorite X-Men character dies in the coolest way possible, but the saddest way possible. And then it just turns into a more emotional and devastating show after that, where, like, Rogue is going down this downward spiral. They finally get to the end episode, or the final 3 episodes where we're fighting the bad guy, who's very, very cool, by the way. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's very cool, and one of the best aspects of this already amazing show. But, like, it's just so full of emotion. It has wonder at parts. It has devastation at parts. The animation is great. Makes all the X-Men really cool. And so for a show that I was just kind of hoping that wouldn't end up like What If, rather, didn't. It became my favorite show of 2024. One of my favorite shows of this decade, if not my favorite show of this decade so far. And my favorite Marvel Disney Plus project. It is phenomenal. That was my tier list ranking of every single Marvel Disney Plus project. I was planning on doing this weeks ago. Finally did it now. Thank you guys for clicking on this one. Make sure you tell me down below, what is your tier list ranking of every Marvel Disney Plus project? I want to know all that down below and more. And with that said, subscribe, join the Nerd Army. Peace out.